welcome to my channel. If you are new, please subscribe, and if you are a returning member, welcome back. So I am going to talk about something that we are all dreading, and that is midterms, which are the most disgusting things in the whole entire world, and I hate exams so much. I'm going to be giving you guys tips and tricks to survive midterms, because midterms are awful and survival tips are needed. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So the first thing about midterms is they are usually long tests. When I was a freshman, I did not realize how long midterms actually were. They're not like itty-bitty 1 to 2 page tests. They're usually like 3 or 4 pages. And yeah, it's a lot of writing. Your hand will cramp up, so make sure you bring a lot of pencils, because also your pencils will break because life. Anyway, so I'm just going to begin with how to take the tests, and then I'm going to go into how to study for them. So how to take the actual exams. Usually there's like multiple choice questions, and then short answer questions, and then there's usually an essay. And don't be me when I was a freshman. This is a true sad story. So when I was a freshman, I had no idea what I was doing when I was taking my midterms, right? So I answer all the multiple choice questions, I answer all the short answer questions so beautifully. This was in English, and I answered them so beautifully, and then essay section on my test, and I was like, okay, cool, I only had 10 minutes to write this essay, so I'm just gonna write, I didn't have enough time, and I'm just gonna kind of write a few sentences. This is a true story. This is how stupid I was. And literally the essay, guess what? The essay counts so much for your midterm grade. Like, it's a huge percent of it. So I didn't fail my midterm grade. I didn't fail my midterm, but I got like 76, 77. It was not pretty, and I am an English nerd. I love English, so for me to get that low of a grade on a midterm for English, for a subject that I absolutely loved, was concerning, and then I realized it was because of the essay. So please, 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 when you get your test, flip through the pages to make sure that there is no essay. If there's no essay, you're good, but work on the questions that are probably going to take the longest, and then kind of like leaf through it a few times, and then just kind of bounce around it and do questions that are going to take longer first. It works so much better than doing all the easy questions first and then doing the hard questions, the long questions last, because you are not going to have a lot of time. They are timed tests, and it is stressful, but it's going to be okay. Just take a deep breath. My suggestion for studying. Gotta do that thumbnail though. I love how dramatic that was. Anyway, so you are going to want to use flashcards. Flashcards are my #1 studying tip. I use flashcards more than I use anything. Here are just a few of my flashcards. I keep some of them just to, I don't know, when I'm bored I can study them. I don't know. I'm crazy like that. Anyway, you can find flashcards anywhere. People, this will save you. You don't have to use flashcards if you don't want to, but this is how I learned vocab. This is how I learned all of the jazz. So, basically what I do is I usually make flashcards throughout the semester. Whatever tests I have, I'll make flashcards for, and I'll save them in a pocket in my binder. But I usually will use, so I usually get once you get the study guides, you're going to get midterm review guides. Once you get those guides, you are going to want to make flashcards for the subjects that you don't have. This is what I do, right? So you get the midterm review guide, right? And it's this long page, long thing, and you're just like, oh my god, I have so much to learn. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a study plan. Now, I create this using just a piece of paper and a pencil, and I will write out study plan for blank subject. Let's say study plan for science, whatever science class you're taking. Okay, study plan for science. Okay, now there's usually different units, different subjects, right? So you want to put unit 1 or subject 1 or whatever, right? And you're going to want to say, okay, for this subject, I want to use flashcards for this subject. And then you're going to want to make some flashcards. And then for subject 2, 3, 4, you can decide. If it's like heavy math in science, then you might want to not use flashcards and you might just want to study and use practice problems or something like that. Whatever works for you. Once you've made your study plan, what I like to do is I like to take all of my tests from the semester from that one class. I like to save all of my tests. And I go back and I copy down all of the test questions that I have been asked. And then, so I write those all down. And then I basically make this master test, this master midterm for myself. So that at the end of all my studying, I can take that test, that master midterm, right? And then I can see how I do, see how I am, if I'm good at answering the questions or I'm bad at answering the questions, and I have all the answers because of the tests. That might not work for you. You might not have any tests to use, and that's fine. But that is my suggestion. Making a plan and not waiting last minute either. If you wait last minute to study, you're not going to have the best grade out of it. Take your time. Don't rush through the midterm. I know a lot of people that rush through and they don't do so well. So take your time. You have time. It's not a lot of time, but you do have time. Taking notes in class and reviewing your notes, reviewing your textbook. So, English, I'm guessing that you've read a few books maybe. So you're going to want to kind of review their story plots, review their message, review their meaning. Chances are you've gotten some vocab. Look at your vocab, make flashcards for your vocab. Chances are you are going to have to write an essay, and you've been told you're going to have to write an essay, so maybe study the essay prompt. What I like to do when I hear I'm going to have to write an essay and I get the essay prompt is I like to write the essay. I like to see how I would do. Not write maybe the whole thing, but write out sort of an essay outline. I know most of my English teachers have let me bring in an essay outline in the past. So making sure that you are taking advantage of whatever the teachers say that you can bring in, bring those things in. Because if you don't have an essay outline, then you don't know, your brain is like, how do I even deal with this? So making sure that you are bringing in that essay outline is extremely important. Next, so there's essay outline. That's usually it for English. Maybe I'm taking AP Lit. Are doing is kind of taking an AP exam. So it's going to be like an AP exam where there are going to be a multiple choice section not related to any of the books we've read, and then essays, like essay questions. So that's like completely different. If you're taking an AP class, it's going to be like the AP test usually. At least that's what it is for me. So yeah, that's extremely important to make sure you know what to study. Yeah. Science. So science, depending on what you're taking, you are probably going to have some vocab, so making sure that you are, making sure that you are making flashcards, or you guys can make Quizlet. And if you don't know what Quizlet is an app where you can make flashcards and study them, and you also can play games with your vocabulary, which is really fun. I'll link it down in the description below if you don't know what it is or where it is or where to find it. Quizlet is, I like physical things. I like being able to say, here's my flashcards, like I have them. That's just me though. Quizlet works for a lot of people, so I'll just link it down in the description below. But yeah, so chances are you're going to have to have flashcards or something like that for science, vocab. Maybe you'll have to write an essay, making sure that you have the essay prompt and you are working through the essay prompt and that you have an outline for your essay. making sure if you're taking any kind of mathy science type thing, making sure that you're practicing those math problems. You can look online. There are so many resources online. If you are struggling with something in your science, like say you're struggling with, I don't know, what comes to mind is density. I don't struggle with density, but I'm just saying, like density math problems, you know, in science. You can Google density math problems, or density whatever science you're taking problems, and they'll come up with a list of, you know, resources, and you can click on one, and there will be, sometimes I know Khan Academy has a ton of tests that you can take, like little quizzes to quiz yourself on certain things like density or like anything in your science. So making sure that you are using your resources to practice problems that you are struggling on. And also ask your science teacher. They'll be willing to help you, usually willing to help you 100%. Just be like, hey, I don't understand this math problem. How do I do it? How do I do it? And they'll just be like, yeah. History is usually, you know, you've studied a lot of history throughout the semester. You're going to want to study that history again. Remember dates, remember names, remember events. Being able to name the event that happened and have some sort of background on the event. Teachers are usually pretty good about telling you what history to study. You know, my history teacher, I don't have a history teacher actually right now, which is kind of funny. I'm taking an online history class. So, for my exam, it was so much about studying names, dates, events. It was that, but my history teachers in the past have been just having knowledge and being able to ask a question and relate it back to that event or whatever. It's more about that. So making sure that you know your teacher's style is really important for history. Math. I hate math so much. Studying math is the most boring thing in the whole entire world, I think, because you can't make pretty flashcards. Or maybe you can, I don't know. What works for me on math is making a huge study guide, basically a huge fake midterm, having all of the practice problems, you know, look at your homeworks and copy down those problems, and then take like a final quiz. Go over your homeworks, do your homeworks again, making sure that you're understanding all the problems you have to do and all the practice problems, making sure you're getting them all correct and all that jazz is super important. So yeah, those are like the basic classes. Like that's just a basis for classes. But overall, make sure you study, because if you don't study, then you're gonna have regrets. If you fail your midterm, you'll know why you didn't study, and that's a huge weight on your shoulders. If you study the heck out of every single thing, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And some teachers might give you like a bad grade or whatever, but at least you studied. At least you know that you studied and it's not your fault. So yeah, use your resources. There are so many resources out online for studying, for everything. I'll link some of the resources that I use down below to help you guys out. And talk to your teachers. You know, you're confused on what's going to be on the midterm. You're confused about this subject. You want to go through this subject after school. Do that. Talk to your teachers. Teachers are willing to help you. Teachers are not going to bite your head off if you ask them for help. That's their job. And if they don't want to help you, then that's a problem. That's like a huge problem, because that is what they're supposed to do. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or concerns about the midterms that you are going to take, please leave them down below. I will try and answer them the best of my abilities. And if I can't answer them, maybe another person can answer them. So yeah, enjoy. Enjoy them as much as you can. I know midterms suck. I know they're awful. But there is kind of this thing at the end of the week, at the end of the midterm week, you feel like you are on top of the world because you know so much. Like, you're like, history, I can tell you about all the things leading up to this day. Or like, you know, you feel you feel like kind of the nerd. And it's kind of great. So make sure that you study. Again, I'm not going to do your lawn, but drink water, eat food, eat good food. Don't eat junk food. Don't eat like ton of crap. Making sure that you are fueling your body with energy. You know, I've been through a lot of midterms, a lot of finals, and it goes by so fast. It's crazy. So enjoy your high school time. Enjoy it all. Is my suggestion. And it sucks, but you'll be able to do it. You will get an A. Be strong. Be happy. Be positive every day that you are alive. And nail those midterms. You gon' slay. I love you guys.